So we have April 19th, 2022, still have snow on the ground. And yesterday I attempted for the last time to do my taxes. Now, when I grew up, my great aunt always said there's only two guarantees in life, death and taxes. Well, little did Auntie Vi know that would turn out to have many more problems than I thought. And I'm talking a lot of problems. So when you have a spouse and you're used to filing jointly with your spouse, you have different types of deductions and everything. And you have a joint income. Now, when your spouse dies in this country, in the U.S., you tend to lose half of your income or close to it. So I knew that my income was going to be impacted, and I was aware of that. And quite frankly, I think I put off doing the taxes for a while because it was a finalization of Al's death, and every time I had to put his birth date and his death date in the paperwork, it just killed me yesterday. But I did get some stuff done on the IRS site, and I knew I had no income, so I didn't have any taxes on that. But, the death and taxes rule for your state is always very different. And when I tried to fill out my forms for my state, I had to go through a company, I think it was called Tax Act, because I'm supposed to be able to file for free, right? Well, they made me go through the federal one again. And it was interesting because the one that I filled out on the IRS site was for seniors, which we have done since they've offered that one because, we're seniors and we're renting a place and whatever. So it was a surprise when the one through Tax Act was different and the numbers were different and everything. But I needed to do the state. And even the one through Tax Act came out to be zero income. So I had no taxes. Okay. Which for some people, they would be thrilled with that. But that just means for me that our income was tight, and because I lost Al before half of the year, he died on the 29th of June instead of the 30th, the income went back, so we lost 1 month of income due to Social Security. So anyway, so I went to fill out for the state. That Tax Act place, it was over 3 hours with help from somebody who's very experienced, and she came over to help me and everything. And it was supposed to be for a free tax, fill out for tax for free. So I went, okay, so here we go. And we get it all filled out and everything. And then they want $39.99. And I'm like, what happened? And my Brenda says, I don't know, we're going to go through it. And she backtracked through it and she said, they never mentioned anything like that. And I said, also, they don't have things like what we had done for the last 2 years. Now, I know that the income tax rules for federal and state can change from minute to minute, But I went back through the last couple of years' taxes and made sure that, we had filled it out. So, needless to say, I didn't get to file them because they wouldn't let me do it online, they said, because I had no taxable income. But I did have rebates coming through the state. So I'm sitting here thinking, if this is happening when this is my very last time to file joint because I've lost my husband, I don't even want to know the nightmare they're going to give me filing single widowed next year with half the income just about. And my rent's gone up and it'll go up again. And the utilities are going up. Everything's going up. The only thing that didn't go up was the income. So when my Auntie Vi used to tell us, there's only two guarantees in life, that's death and taxes. I think there's another one, and it's called poverty. And it's called poverty for widows. Because I've kind of been on a lot of different widow groups on Facebook and a couple of other places, and so many of these women are ending up destitute. I mean, absolutely destitute. And I'm talking even some of them that are older because their husbands had forgot to sign on the pension line that the wife was the, beneficiary, or on life insurance policies at work that they'd worked for 30, 40 years. So I guess my advice for anybody is please, 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 if you have anything like that, we had our Social Security, but if you have anything like that, please double check. Please make sure that your spouse has, if he was the primary income, has protected you because you've provided the home and, taking care of children and family members and that. I am so sad to see such horrible stories that I've been reading. It just doesn't make sense. This country can do so much better than it does, and yet the poverty for the women, and for women who are younger and have children, it's even worse because they're not of age to get Social Security, and unless the spouse was disabled, they can get some widow's benefits, but they have to be a certain age. And the really young moms whose husbands are killed in auto accidents, like my husband had been killed, or through suicide, or through, a instantaneous chronic illness that they weren't able to qualify for, like Social Security disability or anything, they're becoming homeless, and the children are hungry and whatever. So I really wish that we could figure out a way to not only take care of our elderly and those with disabilities and the children and the spouses. And there are some spouses that are men that they were the, they took care of the kids because the wife was had the more powerfully, job in that, and they're being impacted. I mean, it's like if they even show up to try to apply for stuff, well, you're a man, you don't need, help. Just go get a job. And the women have been, some of the women have told me that they've actually gone to apply for help, temporary help, because, it took me, Al was killed in June, and I didn't get my first corrected Social Security check until the end of December. I had nothing to fall back on because we lived on Social Security. And, I mean, I was careful, but we still, if it wasn't for, believe it or not, we had gotten the stimulus checks and had hung on to them, I would have been without a place to live. I would have been on the street because there was nothing available. So I hope that when people, take care of their future, they look at their current, their present, and make sure that they've taken care of it now, because so many things fall through the cracks. And the job market now has changed so much, and people are switching jobs a lot. Make sure they're carrying over their benefits. Make sure that if you've got money in a savings at a job or something, you get that. You've got to protect yourself. That's what my experience was of not being able to file my taxes, of death and taxes. I didn't owe any, luckily, but still, you need to have a tax form to apply for any kind of assistance or discounted rent or anything. So I'm going to try to solve it somehow, but all in all, people, take care. Thank you.